my fuckos and fuck ads. Welcome back to another edition of the Average Guy's Guide to Life podcast. You know who I am. You know what this is, ya bitch. So let's jump right into it. I am in a pleasant mood today. Very pleasant. Which is unusual because all I hear is I'm just so aggressive and all I do is rant and rave. But today I'm in a very good mood. Over the weekend I reconnected with myself. I can say that because I reconnected with a person that was basically like a part of me. I know, gay, right? But reconnecting with someone who's important in your life, if you've never experienced that, it is humbling and it's necessary, especially if you haven't reached a point of no return. I think I said this on one of my earlier podcast episodes that it's important that you reach out to someone that you haven't spoken to in a while. And this person in particular is someone very important in my life. Very important. Missing piece of the puzzle, so to speak. And just reconnecting with them, and it was easy. Like it was easy. It was an easy thing to do. Which is how you know that, the distance that was between you two, it wasn't something that was natural. It was an unnatural distance. So when you reconnect with someone and it's not forced and everything just comes naturally and it's easy and, conversations flowing or whatever, that's someone that's supposed to be in your life, like period. There's no denying that. Okay. There's no denying it. So get out there and fucking reach your people. All right. And another thing that's true, absence does make the heart grow fonder. I know that's a cliche thing to say, but it's so fucking true. It's so true. It's so true. Like, you could separate from anything for a long time and then start doing it again. You're going to realize, like, why the fuck did I stop doing this? Like, this is so fun. This is great. Like, currently, I haven't played Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto is my shit. Grand Theft Auto Online, particularly. And I haven't played it because I haven't had the time, first of all. And I also haven't had the desire because I've mastered the game. I have billions of dollars, all the vehicles, all of the properties. And I just haven't done it. I haven't done it in a very long time. And there's been plenty of DLC things and DLC packs that's come out, and they're all free. Rockstar is great about that, trying to keep the game fresh, keep the community active. But I'm pretty sure when I get back into it, let's just say I pick up a fucking controller this weekend, I'm gonna be like, why the fuck did I stop doing this? This is so fun. I enjoy killing strangers from rooftops. I enjoy it. Like, I get some sort of release from going on killing sprees and murdering hundreds and hundreds of police officers. This is so much fun. But yeah, compared to the person I just reconnected with, playing GTA is like a fucking, I don't know, drop in the ocean. It's just not comparable. I just tried to make a comparison for you, but it's not comparable. Yeah, it's like having, when you, I don't know. I'm not going to get that deep. Fuck. What the fuck am I doing? I'm not going to get that deep with you. Just know this is a good thing. Got me in a good mood. I'm happy. I'm optimistic for first time in a long time. Okay. So go fuck yourself. Moving on. I wanted to talk about sports because I don't think I'll cover sports in a while. As you know, if you are a frequent listener to this podcast, I love me some fucking sports and balls and stuff and fights and fists and violence. I love sports. Sports is my jam, along with many other jams I have. Sports is right up there with the most important jams I have. So I'm going to cover some recent shit. I want to talk about how I transitioned from WWE to UFC and MMA, and my like how that affected my life. Um, I want to talk about the XFL too. Uh, I also wanted to speak on some life shit, like I always do. But let's start off with WWE, right? So I've been a lifelong WWE wrestling fan since I was a kid, like maybe fucking 4 or 5 years old, right? I've only recently disconnected with the product. Now, I haven't cut ties entirely. Like, I'm still hanging on by a thread here. Um, but I'm not involved with the product nearly as much as I was fucking 5, 6 years ago. 5, 6 years ago, I was still ingrained in it. I was watching every show, every pay-per-view, reading every article, watching every YouTube video associated with the product. Now, the only thing I do is I listen to a 15-minute YouTube video of the news that's associated with WWE. That's it. That's as far as my involvement goes. Big news happened with them this past week. Like last week. I didn't even watch it. I didn't even watch it. Like most people would be intrigued to watch that show. There were big names on that card. The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, The Fiend, Roman Reigns. Like there's big names on that card. I didn't even know it happened until it happened. And I was like, oh shit, that was yesterday? you know? So when I started watching it, I was a kid. And I was watching Hogan and shit. I have very brief memories of this because, this was fucking years ago. But I was watching Hogan and Macho Man. I think I have fleeting memories of Lex Luger, um, the Ultimate Warrior. It was like mid 90s shit. Like early to mid 90s shit. And my prime of watching wrestling when I was a teenager and a preteen, that was when I was like obsessed with it. I wanted to become a wrestler. It made me join the wrestling team. I found out later that that's not what real wrestling is, but it still made me join the wrestling team. Just being obsessed with wrestling. And this was the heyday, the attitude era of professional wrestling. I don't know why they call it pro wrestling. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. But this was the Attitude Era. Stone Cold, The Rock, Chris Jericho, Triple H, Undertaker. This was Biker Taker. To me, I liked that version of Undertaker. Um, Kurt Angle, Kane. The tag team division was booming with the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian. It was even the fucking mid card with Val Venus and D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry. Kai and Ty. It was the fucking peak of wrestling, and I got to see it. Happy about that. But the moment that changed was when they, this has been fucking covered a billion fucking times, when it went to PG, and when John Cena basically took the ball of the company. Like it went from, you had the 90s, well, you had the 80s, which I didn't watch, but of course, me being a fan that I was, I studied that era. And then you had the 90s, and, the Attitude Era, and the Ruthless Aggression Era. And then after the Ruthless Aggression Era was very brief, by the way. It was maybe like, what, a year? if that. So, and then you had fucking the PG era, which is still continuing. And the product to me, it was a very swift and quick 180 from what it was. I was used to seeing chair shots to the head. I was used to seeing blood. I was used to seeing, provocative shit. I was used to seeing, people in their promos get a little crazy, curse maybe a little bit. But then it was like overnight it happened. But I still watched. I watched through the entire PG era, The beginning of it, the rough parts, even when a lot of people was turning that shit off, I still watched. Because I had people that I grew up watching still fucking doing it. Triple H was still doing it. Edge was still doing it. Undertaker was still doing it. Mick Foley was still popping up here and there. Fucking Hulk Hogan, like Big Show, these guys were still there. So I had names that I could recognize, and I still appreciated the work. Now, what happened during this time, I was watching Spike TV. Maybe I was about, 17, right? 17 years old. And I was flipping between Spike TV and USA. And Spike TV was playing something called UFC Undisputed, I think. I think that's what the program was called. And I didn't know at the time. I thought it was live, but it was re-airings of UFC pay-per-views. And I saw Matt Hughes versus Carlos Newton, I believe. And I didn't know any of them. They were just two blank faces to me. Two blank faces. And I was familiar with MMA. I was familiar with it. I knew who Ken Shamrock was, and I knew where he came from. I just wasn't familiar with the level of realness and violence associated with it. So I was intrigued, like these two damn near naked guys in this cage fighting. Like fighting for real. Like there's no DDTs involved. There's no fucking Boston Crabs. These guys are trying to fucking incapacitate one another. So I'm watching the fight. And if you're familiar with this fight, and if you aren't, just Google it. Google Matt Hughes versus Carlos Newton. Matt Hughes was getting triangle choked. He was standing, and Carlos Newton was on the ground on his back, applying the triangle, trying to pull down on the head to secure a submission, or Matt Hughes just passing out, right? Matt Hughes, who was a collegiate wrestler, like one of the best wrestlers to ever grace an octagon. I didn't know this at the time. He lifts Carlos Newton up off of the canvas, places him against the cage, right? Now, the cage is the only thing that's holding Carlos Newton up. He has him up, virtually in a power bomb position. And Carlos Newton's head is up against the cage, and that's the only thing that's basically keeping him in place. And then all of a sudden, he fucking slams him to the ground. Smash. Like a real power bomb. It was a real life power bomb. A real life power bomb. And it knocked him out. He was fucking out cold. And I was like, oh, shit. What the fuck was that? That wasn't WWE powerbomb, where someone has to sell the move afterwards. This motherfucker is concussed. You know? I mean, I learned later that Matt Hughes only dropped him like that because he was passing out from the triangle that Carlos Newton was applying. Like he was losing blood to his head, so he naturally slammed him to the ground like that. I didn't learn that until later. You know, but even Matt Hughes didn't know. He woke up, was like, oh shit, I'm the champ. Oh shit, I'm the champ. My nigga, Matt. And ever since then, I was like, you know what? This is pretty fucking cool. I think I'm going to juggle two here. I'm going to juggle WWE and UFC. Kind of like how I used to juggle WCW and WWF back in the day. The Monday Night Wars. I used to flip between the channels, between Nitro and Raw. So I was still involved with the WWE stuff. But UFC was kind of like taking over. I loved Matt Hughes. He was my favorite fighter. And then I discovered Anderson Silva. And then Anderson Silva became my favorite fighter. And Matt Hughes was my second favorite fighter. It was really close. And then I I started getting to other weight classes. I used to love Andre Arlovsky, the long hair Andre, the supermodel Andre is what I called him. He had the long curly hair with the fangs, his signature fangs mouth guard, pit bull. Um, and I loved Randy Couture, the old man, always getting it done. Great grappler. Um, but the straw that broke the camel's back, which started to tilt, the tide a little bit, start to sway things in the other direction, is I think around 2002, 2003, Brock Lesnar left WWE. And over there in WWE, Brock Lesnar had become my favorite wrestler. Okay. This was before the PG era stuff. Um, and when he left, I was so intrigued to like, what the fuck? I'm used to people being in WWE forever, like until they retire, or they have to retire because they're injured. You know, everyone I grew up watching was virtually still there. Hogan was still there. The Rock was still there. Stone Cold was still there. Shawn Michaels just came back. Triple H was still there. No one leaves, especially in their prime. Like he was like 24 or some shit. And he was just like, fuck it, I'm out of here. It's like, what? This doesn't happen. So when he left, I wanted to know where he went. I would fucking Google articles about Brock Lesnar updates. I would just type in Brock Lesnar. I was obsessed with, I wouldn't say obsessed. I was infinitely curious about where he would land. He landed in New Japan for a little bit, and I was disappointed about that because I thought New Japan was a B promotion. I'm like, you're gonna leave WWE to go to this B promotion, and you left WWE because you didn't want to travel, but you go to Japan? I was like, what the fuck? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Uh, Kurt Angle then left. Kurt Angle was my second favorite wrestler, and he ended up in New Japan, and Brock Lesnar dropped the title to Kurt Angle. Well, whatever. Whatever. I didn't get to see any of that shit. I didn't know how to watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I think he tried out for the Minnesota Vikings too. He made the practice squad, but he didn't make the team. Um, but of course, he eventually landed himself in the UFC. So when he did officially land in UFC after one professional fight, I think that was televised on CBS. That was a joke of a fight. He pummeled the guy. Um, it was fair to say my interest in MMA and the UFC was 50-50. It was neck and neck with my lifelong interest in wrestling. I would watch every UFC event, and I would still watch every wrestling event. Um, Now, I think, without drawing this on too long, because I can do a fucking 3-hour podcast about both of these things. But the thing that made me stop watching WWE as much as I did was simple. It was the writing. We all know it's fucking fake. I mean, I accepted the fact that it was fake when I was, 12, 13. I accepted that. I still was able to, enjoy the product for what it was. I was able to, what do they call it? Something your disbelief. Whatever. My brain's fucking melting at this time. I had a long, oh, it's my co-host. Say hello. He says hello, or she says hello. Hi, they say. Hi. That's what that short beep means. Oh, and that one is hi. How are you? Anyway. Suspend. I was still able to suspend. I couldn't remember the word suspend. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Train. I am an idiot. I couldn't remember the word suspend. That's how I know my brain is turning into fucking pudding right now. um, I had to, yeah, that's right. I had to suspend my disbelief, and I didn't have a problem with it when I was watching wrestling. I loved these guys. I grew up with these guys. It was still a violent sport. It was still real in its own way. Um, But the writing, I mean, the in-ring talent was still the best that it's ever been. Like, the talent was still there. The roster was deeper than it's ever been. The product is expanding. The WWE network was, you had everything at your fucking fingertips, every match ever. Uh, but the current product, the writing was just so fucking silly. And I could predict outcomes. The moment that I was able to predict outcomes, whether it be on a weekly show or a pay-per-view, I can see where this is going. I have no reason to watch. If I know how your story started, and I already know how it's going to end, your story is uninteresting. Your story has no peak value. Why am I, as a consumer, going to entertain something where there's no surprises? There's no surprise here. But with the UFC, their roster was steadily growing. They were steadily getting mainstream attention. They were steadily getting, more TV deals, increasing their shows, increasing their pay-per-view. And the kicker, the real selling point was you never knew what the fuck was going to happen. It was real. The stakes were real. These people, they may be personalities. Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, two of the biggest personalities. The Ultimate Fighter, when that launched, that got a lot of people on board. Forrest Griffin as a personality, Rampage Jackson. Like, around the same time that I started to get into them both, I was discovering all these names. And they had fucking superstar talent like Anderson Silva, GSP, fucking Randy Couture. They were starting to build a strong brand. So the combination of Brock Lesnar leaving WWE and him going to UFC and actually becoming the heavyweight champion there and being a super duper star now, for doing two sports, the combination of that, along with the predictable writing and the UFC in its boom stage, I started to dwindle off, and eventually I just stopped watching. I mean, I don't know if I have any, excuse me, I don't know if I have any listeners out there that like WWE or UFC, but maybe you can relate. Maybe you can relate to my experience. And I've been a fucking fan of MMA for a long time now. Like, this was years ago. And maybe something will happen in wrestling that brings me back. Maybe. I saw Edge came back at the Royal Rumble, and I thought he would never return because of, fucking broken neck. That's something people usually don't come back from. When you break your fucking neck, you usually tend to sit this one out. But he came back. He looked amazing. He looked fucking amazing. I actually watched it once. I usually watch the Royal Rumble and I watch WrestleMania. That's as much as I'll do in an entire calendar year of wrestling. So I was like, fuck it. There's nothing else to do right now. So I'll watch Royal Rumble, and Edge came out, and I jumped out of my seat. Not gonna lie to you, jumped out of my seat. He looked amazing. He had a good showing. So if something like that happens, and they just change the writing, and I can follow it, and I don't know what's gonna happen, I'll get back into it. I like The Fiend too. The Fiend was a great idea. Bray Wyatt finally getting the respect that he deserved. It's a shame that he had to go away and create an entirely new gimmick. But props to the man. He did it himself. He created that gimmick himself. He had creative control to a point over it. So kudos to him for that. And he's finally getting the respect he deserves for just the type of creator he is, and especially the type of worker he is. So I don't know. I'm going to leave the door open. The door is slightly open. Like I said at the beginning, I'm hanging on by a thread here to, WWE. Hanging on by a thread. I'm still peeking. It's like I'm peeking through the peephole to see if anything interesting is going on here. What's going on here? What's going on? So the moment they pick up some steam, and they're not gonna replicate anything like the Attitude Era again. Like I threw that dream away. I once had a dream that they would. They would replicate the Attitude Era one day. Just hold on, they're gonna replicate it. They never will. They never will. If you want blood, violence, and realism, UFC is where it's at. And with that being said, we have an event that's coming up this weekend. It happened fucking quick, man. This event came up quick. There was a handful of fights that I was looking forward to this year. Fights that I can remember off the top of my head. Cowboy Conor, saw that one. I was intrigued by Jones Reyes, but I wouldn't say I was, itching to see it. I wasn't in great anticipation. Now, the fight itself surprised me, but I wasn't in great anticipation. So I don't think that one would count. So Cowboy Conor, of course, Khabib Ferguson. I've been waiting years for that fucking fight. Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Weili Zhang. I want to see that fight between the ladies. There's just a lot of fucking fights I wanted to see. But this one was right up there. Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero. It's happening this weekend. It fucking crept up fast, man. I remember when they first announced this fight a few months ago, and I was like, damn, I can't wait to see that fight. That is going to be interesting. I am a huge Yoel Romero fan, but I am also a huge Israel Adesanya fan. They're so different. They're so fucking different. The exciting part about this fight is that I like them both. Like, it's very rare where I've had a fight that I like both fighters. Let's see if I can think of the last one. Shit. I respect all fighters, but as a fan, I'm talking about like liking them both. Well, Khabib versus Ferguson is going to be another one. I guess there's examples. Conor Eddie Alvarez comes to mind. GSP Matt Hughes comes to mind. Anderson Silva and Vitor Belfort comes to mind. I don't know. Randy Couture versus Chuck Liddell comes to mind. Well, I can go down the list here. So this is a fight that's happening this weekend, and this is the main event. I haven't looked at the entire card yet. I might come back on a later podcast episode and go through the card. And just give a brief breakdown of, my excitement about these fights. But I love Yoel Romero. He is a fucking superhuman tank of a man. He's in his 40s. He's in his fucking 40s. If you've seen this man, you'd be like, how is that possible? He looks like a fucking Ninja Turtle. Like, how the fuck is Raphael fighting in the UFC? This is illegal. This man looks like he could punch your soul to dust. And I think he's done that to a few people. This man in the octagon shit his pants. He hit someone so hard. He shit his pants and no one remembers it. No one says anything, because if you were to say to Yoel Romero that, hey, you remember that time you shit your pants? You wouldn't wake up the next day. You just wouldn't. You wouldn't even know what happened to you. It would happen so quickly and so swiftly. You might wake up in heaven. You might wake up in hell. Yoel Romero is a scary person. This fucking Ninja Turtle man. This person, oh my God. And he's super explosive. He is a fucking wrestler by trade. He's a grappler by trade. But all of his highlights is of him decapitating people. Decapitating them with flying knees. Like that one he hit Chris Weidman with It was like out of nowhere. Chris Weidman just shot in for a takedown, like, this is what I do. I'm shooting in for a takedown, and Yoel Romero just exploded out of nowhere. Wham! Right to your fucking noggin. The way he knocked out Luke Rockhold, too. he hit the man so hard he made him agree with him. It's like, yes, if you've seen that highlight, then you know what I mean. Fucking, oh my God. So Yoel Romero is a monster. And Israel Adesanya, I hate that I didn't know him before he came into the UFC. But ever since he's been in the UFC, I've seen all of his fights. He was a kickboxer. A very renowned kickboxer before he got into UFC. But then he got in with accolade and high praises. And I just thought it was just some tall, skinny black guy. Because he's just the opposite of Yoel Romero. Well, Romero not requires. I guess his strategic approach is strength and explosiveness. Extreme explosiveness. He doesn't do a lot of jumping and bobbing around the ring or the octagon. He doesn't have a particularly elusive style either. He's easy to hit. You can hit him. Like you probably can't knock him down or knock him out, but you can hit him. He's very flat-footed too. Doesn't have a bounce, but he's like a fucking snake. He's coiled and always ready to explode at any time. You just don't know when it's going to happen. While Israel Adesanya, on the other hand, extremely elusive, super sophisticated striker. He knows angles. He can read his opponent. He knows how to outmatch them like a chess. Like when he fought Anderson Silva, that was like a fucking kung fu movie. They were throwing all these fancy techniques and it was like they were playing chess at the same time. And Israel Adesanya just outdueled Anderson Silva. Of course, Anderson Silva was over the hump, but I enjoyed that fight. I guess that's another example of two fighters I like fighting. But anyway, so their styles are completely different. But style bender, Israel Adesanya is a fucking monster. He makes people look like they shouldn't be in the ring with him when they fight on the feet. Like I don't think he's been really ground and pounded yet in the octagon. Maybe that will be Yoel Romero's strategy, since he is such a high-level grappler. But as of yet, it hasn't happened. So all of his fights have taken place on the feet, and everyone just looks like, like, what the fuck is happening to me? What is happening to me right now? Like, I'm being hit. Like, my face is getting touched and bruised. Like, I'm getting fucked up right now. Like, how is this person doing this to me? But I can't hit him. Like, the only person that's been able to really hit him was Calvin Gastelum, which is a great fight. But everyone else, they just look bewildered. Like, this person is, like, he's playing a different game than me right now. He's doing something else entirely. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I'm on horseback. Just trotting along. Going to the fucking, going to the motherfucking, the market on my fucking horse. And this person is in a goddamn Ferrari turbo. Going to a goddamn Walmart. So it's two different things. So I am extremely interested to see that fight. And if you're a sports fan or a UFC fan, let me know. I would really like to discuss some of these things with you in the comment section or whatever the fuck. But I am excited about the future of just the fights that are coming up. This is one of them. This is definitely one I marked on the calendar. It's like one of those bullet point fights. You have to fucking see it. You got to see it. You can't steal this one. Listen out here, you fucking pirators. You can't steal this one. You gotta watch it. Order the fucking pay-per-view. I'm gonna be an advertiser now. Order the pay-per-view. You fucking scumbags. Alright, so I'm gonna finish this edition of The Average Guy off with my double standard of the week. I apologize if this wasn't a very funny edition. I just really wanted to get heavy into sports talk today because I haven't covered it in a while. I'll be funny next time. Don't worry about it. Don't fucking worry about it, okay? I still love you. You still love me? You still love me? Sucky sucky? Sucky sucky pee pee? Anyway, my double standard of the week is courtesy of a meme that someone posted on Instagram. And I like this person. They're like, we're friends. But they made like a ridiculous claim. This is fucking ridiculous, and it's another double standard in favor of, I don't know who it's in favor of, but it was sparked by a woman, and I don't like to feel like I'm picking on women because I'm not. I'm not. I'm all for equality. I really am. I'm all for equality, but it seems like women want equality, but selective equality. They want. Bill Burr said something. I think it was Bill Burr. Bill Burr said something. It was like, women want equality, but they want the buffet version of it, where they just want to see everything that's out there and just pick what they like and say that's equality. You know, it's like go to the buffet and say, let's just say, the buffet has social and economical things that men and women both experience, right? And women will pick, equal pay. I'll take that. I'll take that. Pumping the gas, and no, you can have that. You know, sexually liberated. I'll take that. But oh no, picking up heavy things. No, you can have that. So it's a selective equality. And the thing that they posted just really, I didn't have to comment on this at all. I really didn't. I could have just kept scrolling down my timeline, trying to figure out what the fuck the public was speaking on, what was going on. But I had to mention it. And the meme that she posted was a meme of a thick girl. It wasn't like a thick Instagram girl where they have zero waist, zero gut, and just a giant ass and giant tits. It wasn't that kind of thick. It was like I had a couple kids thick, had a belly. It was lapping over a little bit, some thick thighs and thick waist, just looked like, your average woman that, eats a little bit. Okay. And the caption of this meme read, only real man would love every inch, right? Only a real man would love every inch. And that got under my skin because I'm like, well, what the fuck are you saying about every man that don't like that? What if he like a man, like what if he like a woman that does CrossFit? What if he like a woman that, is in shape? What if he like a woman that's even bigger than that? Like, what the fuck? Are you saying that that's not a real man? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's the verbiage that was used, right? So that bothered me. So my double standard is, you're saying that a man isn't allowed to have preferences, but a woman is. That's crazy to me. That is insane to me. A woman is allowed to have preferences, but a man isn't. A man can't say the same exact thing and be greeted with such open arms as a woman posting the same post, posting the same meme. You know, if a woman posts a meme like that of a basically, slightly overweight woman, every other woman in the galaxy will like and comment on that picture. You go, girl, you tell them. That's right. Heart emoji, fire emoji, winky face emoji, fucking eggplant emoji. Fuck it. Everybody just fucking, hops on the bandwagon of this meme. Because women will support other women when it comes to these selective equality things that they want. But if a man were to post a picture of a tiny, tiny dick, just a little baby dick, a person that's just super unfortunate. He doesn't have anything to brag about in his pants. If a man were to post a tiny baby dick picture and then with a caption reading, only real women would appreciate every inch, how would that be greeted? Right? How would that be greeted? You can bet your ass that a man's not going to comment on that because that's going to insinuate that, hey, I got a small dick too. You're right. Where are you at, women? Love every inch. It's only a couple, but you gotta love them. Um, it's fucking ridiculous. Come on. Come on. Allow people to have preferences, man. Come on. You can't, first of all, you can't be selective with what you want equality on. You just fucking can't. You can't. That's not fair. That's not equality by definition. So you can't do that. And you also can't fucking paint a man in a corner. You're just pushing him away. You can't push a man away for not liking what you like, for not agreeing with you. You say this isn't a real man. This is somehow a fake man. This is somehow less of a man because he doesn't agree with you. He doesn't hold the same principles that you do. So this isn't a real man. That's stupid. It's ridiculous. And lastly, you can't say that preferences don't matter. You can't say that people don't like what they like. You can't say that. Everyone has their preference. Everyone. You may like someone with fucking dreadlocks. You may hate dreadlocks. You may love beards. You may hate beards. You know? Is every guy, should he post a picture of himself with his beard and his dreadlocks and say only real women would appreciate it? What about a dude that's bald with no facial hair? Should he do the same thing? Just denying women of their choice? Their God-given choice and preference? That's dumb. I love you, but go fuck yourself. Don't post that. Okay? Be better. Be better at your meme sharing. You're better than that. Think about the consequences of the memes you share. All right, folks, that's it. Have a good day. I hope you're doing good. Bye-bye.